When the recent news about Shenmue 3 going, at least temporarily, as an exclusive for the Epic Game Store, when this news reached me, it sort of drove home a point that I had been stressing for a while and that I had mentioned before. In its current iteration, the Epic Game Store is cancer, and the strategy that they're using in order to garner titles to their platform is one that does the consumers absolutely no good at all. And this is only the most recent example to come out to show people just why that is. And it's for a couple reasons. Let's talk about trust. Whenever you, especially in a pre-order heavy market like video games, unfortunately. By the way, don't pre-order video games. Shenmue is perhaps an example why. Another example why. But trust is important in a market like this because you're relying essentially on the good faith of developers or perhaps their previous past actions to inform your buying decisions often beforehand. If you're someone who likes to kickstart projects, in a way, it's almost like early access where you're given a little snippet of something, and then you put money up in the hope that eventually that game will come into fruition, and it will be wonderful and glorious and everything that you hoped for, and maybe more. But, just like early access is fraught with disappointment, so too can Kickstarter projects be. And I think a lot of people right now, of the, 70,000, 69,000, however many people who have backed Shenmue 3, a lot of them are learning this firsthand. Maybe they're learning it again. And that's not to chastise them. I'm sympathetic with their position. So, Shenmue 3 released on Kickstarter, I think back in 2015, and it finally reached all of its goals, it got its funding, $6.33 million for a video game that people really, really want. And this is all backer-backed, I guess you could say. Recently, it was announced that despite the fact that it had been advertised with Steam codes and all this stuff, and that there was a survey and people put Steam on there, they recently announced that this will be an Epic Game Store exclusive, at least for now. Obviously, people are upset, and they have every right to be upset, especially because when they asked for refunds, they are being denied. Here, let me read a snippet of their official response. Thank you very much for contacting us. The launch was previously planned for distribution on Steam. However, it was decided together with Deep Silver, remember them from Metro, yeah? After much discussion, that the Epic Game Store would be the best distribution platform option. Shenmue 3 will be distributed through the Epic Game Store and require the Epic Game Store client to activate. We apologize for the sudden change in platform. However, refunds will not be granted for this change. We thank you for your support and look forward to delivering the Shenmue experience fans everywhere have been waiting so long for. From my understanding, from what I've read in articles and what I've heard from people, Steam logos were on marketing materials. Steam logos, the Steam game keys for Steam were spoken about in pledge tiers earlier. And there is a Shenmue 3 Steam page, actually. In fact, let me check if it's live. Yeah, it is live. There is a Shenmue 3 Steam page right now. Release date November 19th, 2019. Publisher Deep Silver. Uh-oh. Publisher Deep Silver. I still haven't bought Metro because I have a principled position against the Epic Game Store, and I don't want their shit on my precious computer. If something comes out for the Epic Game Store, I'm not buying it. I don't want that crap on my computer. It's really that simple. You have this thing out there for years and years. Almost 4 years now you've had this Kickstarter up. And then at the last minute, or quote-unquote the last minute, this late into its development, at the E3 presentations and all that. By the way, guys, not going to come out on Steam. I know every single one of you expected it to be on Steam, and I know we led you to believe it would be on Steam, and I understand that Steam by far is the best PC platform at the moment to play video games, and it's feature-rich. But we decided that Shenmue 3's experience would be best if we put it on the Epic Game Store. What this means is that we'll make more money. That's what it means. What it means is Epic Game Store paid us enough for us to give the middle finger to the backers. And that's a difference between Shenmue 3 and Metro, by the way. A very important distinction, too. You have a crowd-funded game, and yet you still have a publisher, Deep Silver. Okay, so who's paying the bills? Is it Deep Silver who's paying the bills? Or is it the backers who pledged the $6.3 million to you guys? Who are you beholden to? Are you beholden to the backers from the Kickstarter, which is what it should be? Or are you beholden to whatever Deep Silver says you have to do? Now we enter into the big difference, right? Where do their loyalties lie? To the consumers or to the publisher? You have a publisher, but you have a Kickstarter. So which of these two entities that gave you money are the one you're listening to the most? Well, apparently it's Deep Silver. And fuck the 69,000 plus people who gave us money to make this game. Fuck you guys. Now going forward, can we trust you? No, of course we can't trust you. I don't have any particular care for Shenmue 3. I wasn't gonna buy it anyway. That's not the issue. I'm not a fan of Shenmue. I don't know anything about Shenmue. I'm completely removed from it. I have no emotional investment or attachment to this game or to this series. A lot of people do, though. A lot of people really do. Which is why 69,000 plus people donated $6.3 million to you guys. And now, they can't trust you, can they? Now they're in a position where they've given you money to deliver a product, and they can't trust you. And you know what a lot of people are going to start thinking? Because, hell, I'm thinking it now. Well, if these Shenmue guys, what are the devs? YSNet? YSNet? I don't care if I'm pronouncing it correctly. What about your next Kickstarter project? Are people going to believe you? What about, hell, even if it isn't YSNet, what about the next Kickstarter that these people think they're going to do? Remember this happened with Phoenix Point, right? Thanks for crowdfunding our game. We're not putting it on Steam. Because fuck you. Epic paid us money. I know you guys paid us money. I know all of you backers individually literally paid us to make this game, but then Epic Game Store swooped in, offered us a big check, so fuck all of you guys who wanted it on Steam. Whenever a company says, we are putting our game on the Epic Game Store because this is what is best for our game, this is what people want, they're lying, right? They're doing it for money. They have the money to make their game. It's the Kickstarter. It's the crowdfunding. Those are the funds right there. People gave you money to make the game. That's the arrangement. People voluntarily give you money. And in return, you say, all right, we'll use these funds to make a game. If you show a little faith or act on your confidence in us, we'll give you little bonus goodies, essentially. Like Kickstarter pledges, And now think of all the companies out there who have their products on Kickstarter who are looking at YSNet and the Shenmue 3 shit that's coming out and saying, well, damn, now are people going to trust us? This is a smack in the face to the reputation of Kickstarter projects in general. And many of them are absolutely done in earnest. And I'm not against the idea of Kickstarters. I'm not against the idea of Steam Early Access. But now, all this does is adds another example on the scales that tip people's trust against you. And I've seen this in comments before. Oh, you just don't like it because it's not on your preferred platform. People are just angry because it's not on Steam. People just want all their games on Steam. These are comments that I've read as I've scoured through articles and such. So let's run with that, right? Let's say there's someone who's legitimate complaint against these people who are upset for righteous reasons. You guys just want all your games on Steam. Well, why do you think that is? Why do you think people want all of their games on Steam? Let's stop for a second. Do I want all of my games on Steam? Not necessarily. But I'm never going to complain if a game does come out on Steam. And until Steam gives me reason to fear them as a company, which they have in the past to some small degree, but I love Steam. Love it! And a lot of people love it too. It is feature-rich. And it's very good for consumers to have their stuff, have their products on Steam, with the refunds and the community stuff and the servers and all the things that they provide, not just to the consumers, but to the devs themselves. Why do you think it is that everybody wants their games on Steam? Now, look over across the aisle to Epic, and how content and feature barren it is in comparison to Steam. And that should be instantly right there. Self-evidently, the reason why people want their stuff on Steam. Nobody has an issue with the idea of the Epic Game Store existing as a distribution platform. Nobody has an issue that Steam has competition. You want to know why people don't really bitch about Origin all that much? Because from my experience, and I've been playing a lot of Apex Legends, it's one of my go-to shooters right now, Origins works. It's easy to use. The friend notifications and the updates and the invites, they all work. It's got features in there that I can use. I don't want the... I uninstalled the Epic Game Store client off my old computer, and I'm on my new computer now, and that is not going on this computer. Absolutely not. Not putting it on there. I don't trust the Epic Game Store. I don't trust Tencent. I don't trust Chinese companies in general, quite frankly. Like, Tencent, right? It's my tongue burns when I say that name. Tencent. Fuck Tencent. I'm reading let me read off the wiki here. Coupled with their desire to move away from being beholden to a publisher, Epic Games observed that the video game industry was shifting to a games-as-a-service model. Sweeney stated, there was an increasing realization that the old model wasn't working anymore, and that the new model was looking increasingly like the way to go. In an attempt to gain more games-as-a-service experience, they made an agreement with Chinese Tencent, who had several games under their banner, including La La La, operating successfully as games-as-a-service. In exchange for Tencent's help, Tencent acquired approximately 48.4% of Epic, then issued share capital, equating to 40% of total Epic, inclusive of both stock and employee stock options for $330 million in June 2012. Tencent Holdings has the right to nominate directors to the board of Epic Games and thus counts as an associate of the group. Oh, fuck. Yeah, I don't want their shit on my computer, and a lot of people don't either. This isn't about whether or not what Epic Game Store does is a savvy business move. Dumping toxic waste into the river to float it downstream is a savvy business maneuver. This is about the principle of the idea of what competition should be in the PC gaming landscape. That's why so many people hate Epic Game Store so much, and why people like me have a principled position against it, and why it doesn't matter what game goes on there. I ain't buying it. Epic Game Store says, alright, you're a company. Instead of giving your backers what they were promised, instead of giving consumers what they would prefer and what would be best for them, here's a big old check. How about you just put your game on the Epic Game Store? How about that? And then the devs say, yeah, we will do that. So they're both to blame. One for making the offer and the other to accept it. Shenmue 3. Another reason why the Epic Game Store is cancer. Avoid at all cost.